Good morning. Good morning. We'll go ahead and get started. Welcome to our 2022 Media Day here at our office. My name is Brandon Dean. This new season starts on Thursday. Thank you for being here, covering our sport. You do a great job of telling our story. At this time, I want to bring forth a young man who I met in 2013 in my old job. Since that time, he's been a brother to me, a mentor, a counselor, a true friend. Please welcome our Executive Director, Mr. Alvin Briggs.
Good morning. I don't know if Brandon just aged me or what, but I appreciate that introduction. Again, thank y'all, like you said, for being here. Thank y'all for being here. It's that time of the year, and we're excited about the upcoming athletic year for our schools. A lot of our schools, as you know, started last week with a few fall jamborees, but this week kicks it all off for cross country, volleyball and football, and we're excited about the school year. It wasn't long, it doesn't seem, since we all were. I saw a lot of these faces in Oxford and Jacksonville for our final state championships of last season. So we're excited about it. What I want to do right now is, again, welcome you here and introduce our newest employee, JT Lawrence. If you step up this way, please. JT comes to us from Bisley High School. He was there for 20 years. Longtime coach, athletic director. He applied for the position he is in now for a couple of years, and it's been exciting, and we're excited to have him here. He's hit the ground running. He is one of the reasons why this organization has prospered, because of what he's done at his member school and his community. So I would like for y'all to welcome JT Lawrence to the association. At this time, I'm gonna bring Brandon Dean back up, and he's gonna introduce the rest of the staff. We'll be around later on, Ron, if I'm not mistaken. We have a question and answer at the end of this. So, thank y'all for being here.
Thank you, sir. At this time, I'm going to bring forth a young lady who I've met in 2017, who has been a great mentor to me as well, our Associate Executive Director, Ms. Kim Vickers.
Big step. Thank you, Brandon. I really appreciate that intro of being the young lady. I don't get called that very often, since I'm probably one of the older ones here besides Ron and Alvin. But anyway, I always have to throw that in there because Alvin's a year older, 1 year and 2 months. So I have to keep him in mind that he's the older of the two. But anyway, on behalf of all of our staff members and our member schools, I want to thank the media for what you do. You know, your coverage is very important to the success of our athletic events and so forth, and we appreciate it. And Ron Ingram in our office does an excellent job communicating information to you guys, and we appreciate that. Under my position and job responsibilities at the AHSAA, I oversee the publications process. And in doing that, we produce 2 major publications every year, one being the handbook that has all the rules in it. And I brought a copy of that just so you can see it. This handbook is available on our website as a PDF as well as an ebook. Also, all of our sports information can be found on our website. That is also individual sports sections with PDFs and a complete book in an ebook format. But I want to stress something to the media. Just because it often is there's a misconception or misunderstanding of the rules in this handbook. Just today, I talked to 2 different athletic directors, and in those conversations, those ADs mentioned, well, I told the parent it was an AHSAA rule. And I corrected them immediately and said, no, it's our member schools rule. Just to clarify, the AHSAA office does not write the rules that are published in this book. Our member schools write the rules, and they have an opportunity every year through the legislative process to update those rules, change rules, eliminate rules, or create brand new rules. And we encourage our schools to go through that process, because when things are posted on social media or even in other formats of communication out in the public, you know, the AHSAA often gets thrown under the bus for enforcing or governing the rules that our member schools have written. So just as a reminder, our schools write the rules, and they expect us to govern their rules consistently. And that's what everyone in this office strives to do daily. You know, we put our student athletes at the forefront of every decision that's made. We're not in the business of making students ineligible. We strive to make students eligible. And in doing so, we have approximately 190,000 student athletes across the state of Alabama that will be participating in educational-based athletics this year. And that's phenomenal. You know, you don't hear about the 190,000, you hear about the one, or you hear about the two that have been ruled ineligible for some reason or another. But always feel free to contact me if you have information or questions regarding our rules, and I can direct you to where you can find that in our handbook and so forth. But again, thank you for being here, and thank you for your coverage of our high school athletics.
Thank you, Kim. At this time, I have another young man coming forth. I have a theme here. We all young at age. Mr. Marvin Cho. Please welcome Marvin Cho.
Thank you, Brandon. Good morning, everybody. Again, I want to reiterate what Kim said. Thank you to the media for being here. My side of what I do here at the association, I work with Dragonfly, which is our content management program. Hopefully, as we continue to move forward with that partnership, the schedules, scores, rosters from that will continue to get better for the media as we continue to work with them. One thing I do want to mention today, we're excited of a new partnership that we just signed actually yesterday, and that's with Scorebook Live. And so Scorebook Live will be our new, I guess, bracketing software, but they will also have all of our scores, rosters, schedules as well. So scorebooklive.com will be our new bracket and digital provider for that aspect, and we're excited about that partnership. So, but if you have any questions or if there's anything that we can help you with as far as rosters or schedules, please feel free to reach out to us. Thank you.
At this time, I'll bring forth Mr. Jeff Seekers, our Director of Football, to talk about our Super 7 and flag football. Jeff.
Oh, thanks. Thank you, D. Mark. As Kim said, I'd like to thank you for what you do to promote high school athletics. As a former athletic director, what y'all do is invaluable, and thank you. We are very fortunate as an association to be able to provide really 3 great venues every year for our football championship. And this year, we're very fortunate to be going back to Auburn and Jordan-Hare Stadium. And we are greatly looking forward to that. It's going to be a great event. The Auburn community supports that with their volunteers, and what they do for us is second to none. As part of that championship, this will be our 2nd year of flag football being a pilot program. And on the Wednesday, we will be hosting our championship game of flag football. If you were lucky enough to be there last year for the finals and saw Hewitt win in overtime, it might have been the most exciting event of the whole championship. So I'd like to, again, finally thank y'all for what y'all do. And if we can ever be of any help or you've got any questions, feel free to give us a call.
Thank you, Jeff. To talk about some basketball changes, I'm going to bring forth Ms. Devin Booth, who starts her 2nd year here at our association. Devin Booth, thank you.
Good morning. Thank you all for being here. You know, this is an exciting time of year for school beginning to start and our fall sports beginning. Time surely does fly, like Alvin said, Coach Briggs said. It seems like yesterday we were just finishing up our spring sports, and before you know it, it's going to be basketball season. So I want to take this time to kind of update you on our basketball regional sites. As you know, last year, COVID, and the year before last kind of made us changed some things around with our regional sites. Since then, we've been talking with the city of Birmingham and the Bill Harris Arena about them potentially letting us host the site there. And in April, our board approved us to host our Central Regional at the Bill Harris Arena in Birmingham. So the city of Birmingham and Bill Harris Arena are excited about us being there, and we're excited about being there too. Additionally, our South Regional will stay at Garrett Coliseum, our Northwest at Wallace State, and our Northeast at Jacksonville State. And again, we'll be back at Birmingham for our finals. Thank you for what you do and covering our student athletes.
Thank you, Devin. At this time, I bring forth our youngest member of our staff, Mr. David Hofstra.
Thanks, Brandon. What is everybody laughing at? I just wanted to highlight just kind of what we're doing on social media. We're trying to do a lot more video, just a lot more highlighting of what's going on around the state. If you see any video, if you see anything great that you feel like should be highlighted, tag us, tweet us. Just let us know what's going on. We want to highlight what's going on. But yeah, thank you.
Thank you, David. At this time, I want to bring forth the young man who planned all this, and I mean this, he is the hardest working guy I've ever met. To be of his experience, he never stops moving. And I, for one, during baseball season and playoffs, when he's chasing down scores, I love him for that because he's a true team player. Please welcome Ron Ingram.
Thank you, Brandon. I wasn't real sure who you were introducing there for a minute. Guys, good to see this great crowd already here. We'll have a whole lot more people here before the day is over, especially with the press conference coming up. A couple of things I wanted to mention. The first thing I want to mention is especially to our TV folks, anybody that's doing video, as David mentioned video, the NFHS network in 2020, the TV stations came to us and said during our playoffs, particularly in basketball, we can't get out. We can't really cover the games because of COVID. So we were able to get them to give us 20 passes that we shared with our TV media and some other media, and they were able to, I guess, stay at home and cover the games. They got to see the games. And we thought that was a great idea. So we asked the NFHS network if they would to pursue something that our media partners, as I like to call y'all, could utilize. And right now we know radio does video and writing, newspapers do video and writing, and television stations do writing in addition to what they've always done with video. So it's all kind of a hodgepodge. Everybody is doing some of the same things. We've got other groups that are internet-based only, and they're doing writing, they're doing photos, they're doing video as well. And so they came up this summer, they announced it at our summer conference in San Antonio, that they have a special media pass for media partners across the country. And the price of it is $39.95 for a year. The regular pass for most folks is somewhere around $99. So this is a really good, I'm not trying to sell it, but I just want you to understand what you'll be able to do if your station or your company wants to utilize it. You'll be able to access any games that's on the NFHS network. Any games where our schools, we have over 320 schools now that are actually broadcasting their games each week, and we hope to have by this time next year, we hope to be a 100% state where all of our schools are broadcasting their games, live streaming their games. But you will be able not only to watch these games if you don't have the bodies to send out to them, but you'll be able to pull clips. And the fascinating thing I think about it too is that when you pull the clips, if a coach is calling and say, listen, you wouldn't believe it, but we ran the kickoff back at the last play of the game tonight. And you pull the clip, and Johnny Smith, an 11th grader at the school, was the one working the technical aspect of the cameras. and you can say, you can give a shout out to that kid, Johnny Smith at Hueytown High School. Thank you for providing this outstanding play that I know y'all are going to be talking about at your 20th reunion. And it's just another way for y'all to show the partnership that y'all have with the local communities and schools. And I think it would just, your highlight shows are incredible. Everybody can't wait to get home to see them. But you'll also find that having this pass, if you decide to use it, is that pass also gives you a chance to look at archives. Something that you didn't hear about on Friday night was pretty intriguing. You can go back and find it maybe through the on-demand program, which is all part of it. But anyway, if you have any questions on that later, just give me a call. The main thing I wanted to say today, though, is we thank y'all for what you do for our schools. We want you to understand that when we tell you we can't comment, there's reasons for it. We deal with our schools and schools first, and your best source should always be the school principal. And that's another reason I think that this pass is going to help y'all, because the better relationship we have with the local schools, the better they're going to trust you in the good times and the bad times. So, but anytime I can help you from this end, for most of you, you got your credentials, we mailed them out, that got permanent credentials, we mailed them out on Friday. Some of you ask, how do you get a permanent credential? You need to be covering our events year-round. It's not just a football event and not just a football credential. You should be covering our events year-round. And you should be doing it in a way that is professional and it's news-gathering information. If you're just sitting back on a couch and screaming and hollering about this and that, that might not work. But if it's a new venture, we look at a new venture, we try to give them a year to show us what they're doing, a year. At least a year, and sometimes more if we're not satisfied. But our media policy is very clear about what we can do, so that's what we try to do. Anytime you have a question, though, about anything dealing with AHSAA and the media, please give us a call, and we will be glad to tell you what we can anytime we can. Appreciate you.
This time I bring forth Mr. Ken Washington, our Director of Officials, to talk about some officiating updates and conferences. Ken.
Good morning. No one really wants to clap for the officials, huh? It's all right. Believe it or not, but no, believe it or not, we're still recruiting officials. COVID definitely hurt us in that area. Not having sports, a lot of our officials didn't get an opportunity to officiate, and they realized that they didn't miss it so much. All the abuse from fans, our adamant coaches, who we love dearly, and just the mistreatment on social media, the abuse that they go through. And I don't think people realize that officials are human. They have a 9-to-5 just like you guys have a 9-to-5. And to go in Walmart and be harassed by a parent is not so enjoyable, especially for the amount of money that they make. It's not a cool gig anymore. It used to be fun. We got to get back there. If we want people to come in and officiate the contest that we love, because during COVID, we didn't have sports. We did everything possible to get back to play. But then once we get back to play, we seem to have forgotten that people are human. And if we want to have sports, we got to do better. And some of our coaches in our schools are fantastic. They treat our officials well, like they should be treated. And some go overboard just to show their hospitality. We do appreciate that. We appreciate you guys covering us. Anytime we can get out in front of you and talk about our issues and the things that we're doing that are positive in this office is always great. But we have a plan, and talked to a lot of our associations, especially coming up in the sport of volleyball and basketball. Got the number of games down to a T, number of officials, and all the games that we can't cover, We've already reached out to other associations to make sure our athletes have an opportunity to play. So we don't see a problem there. We have had a positive increase in officials, a little bit over 100 or so, but we're over 1,000 down across all the sports. But we feel very confident that we'll be able to have every game covered this year. We don't plan on missing any games. So we're very excited about that. But on a lighter note, in 2025, we will be hosting the Naso Summit here in Montgomery. It's one of the largest organizations for officials from all age groups. We cover all sports from youth league all the way up to the collegiate professional level. They all come together, and we all share a common bond as officials and as our issues and problems. We come and have the meeting of the mind and share our stories with each other and come up with solutions, and we try to take those back to our state. So we're very excited for hosting the NASO Summit here, and we want them to tour Montgomery, and we also want them to see the state of Alabama. But thank you guys for your time and everything that you do.
Ken, before you step down, we have a question.
Now, I got questions. Nobody had a question the entire time.
The question was, what is the status of instant replay for basketball?
Status of instant replay for basketball is the same as all our, as before in the past. The championship games, it has to be zeros on the clock. The only thing that could be reviewed is 2 or 3s. That's it. Any other questions? All right, thank you.
Thank you, Ken. Now, you've met our entire staff, and I will say, as my teammates, they do a great job what they do every day. They work hard, take a lot of unnecessary heat day in and day out, but they work hard for our association or for our member schools. So thank them again for being here. At this time, we'll have Mr. Briggs come forth for a question and answer session.
Thank you, Brandon. The whole purpose this morning is for you to see our staff and give you a brief update on what they do and what their responsibilities are in this office. We are a team, and I believe this is one of the hardest working athletic staffs across the country. They are passionate about what they do and how they do it. They had the same passion when they were teachers and walking down the hallways in their community and their schools. I'm going to echo a lot of things of what they said. I'm going to start with Ken. Ken has one of the toughest jobs in this office. The toughest job in this office. It's a lot tougher than what I do. It's a lot tougher than what Kim does. A lot tougher because his job is to try to recruit and maintain a group of people that get abused no matter what call they make. It doesn't matter what call they make or what call they don't make. They get abused. It's not like when I participated 10 years ago. Wow, no laughter on that one. Still don't. I lost that one. I lost that one, Doug. Because I remember the local judge as being one of our game officials. I remember a fireman being one of our football officials. I remember a teacher from one of the local schools being a baseball umpire, and there was no abuse. Those people are not calling our games anymore, because of the abuse. The other thing the other way we're losing officials is because of age. We have a lot of officials and Ken mentioned COVID, it was because of their age, and they were concerned with COVID and how it would affect their livelihood in their sickness, because a lot of them had different ailments, and they didn't know how it was going to affect them. And so we lost several thousand of officials. Ken has done a great job along with the Officials Foundation and trying to recruit and maintain those officials. And, you know, we're going to continue to promote that. And again, he does a great job, and he has one of the hardest jobs. David Hofstra forgot to mention that he's in charge of esports. Esports is another one of our growing sports. This past year from Bob Jones High School, we had a young man get a scholarship to go to Ole Miss, and that scholarship is going to be worth $700 million when it's all over with. Can you imagine? That's the kind of money that's going to be potentially put into him at Ole Miss from an esports scholarship. Who would have thought video games would become, I mean, but that's it. And we have a whole lot of people that.
Also, we had a kid yesterday from Bob Jones that's won the last 2 Madden championships, signed with Bethel University. Madden.
I mean, this, you know, what we offer our young people and what we continue to try to offer our young people is just what we're here for. Jeff mentioned flag football. We're also bringing back, because of COVID, the past 2 years we weren't able to have our unified football game. They will be back this year. So on Wednesday, we will have a jam-packed field. We will have a unified football game, our flag football game, and our 7A state championships. And the Auburn-Opelika community does a heck of a job in supporting our Super 7. Mayor Ron Anders, who's not here today, spearheaded that with D. Martin Mitchell, who's back here in the back, that came late today, that's here. You know, they do a great job. It's, you know, their unselfishness and willingness to host our Super 7 in back-to-back years with their volunteers speaks volume of that community, Auburn-Opelika. So we want to thank them for their efforts, and they're doing that. You know, we are here to, as Kim said, and all of our sport directors, we're here for 190,000 student athletes and 418 member high schools and over 300 member middle schools. That's who we're here to serve. That's who we're here to support. That's who we're here to give support to. This office and this association is not a self-serving association. You know, we're here for our membership, and we support our membership, and our membership support us. From Bubba Scott to Dan Washman to Steve Savarese, that's what this association is all about. And so we will continue to keep the train on the rails and look forward to a exciting 22-23 school year. I want to end with a little story on how important the media serves our membership. And it's a self-serving story. As Josh Bean and Ron Ingram put together a little, and they call it an op-ed. They put together a little story about the association that kind of tagged me in a little bit. As it stated in there, I grew up as a athlete in the Alabama High School Athletic Association, and from little Greenville, Alabama. And I went home to see my mom yesterday, and she had some ladies in the neighborhood there visiting. And I go through the door expecting maybe that they are talking about church or what was going on in the neighborhood. And one of the ladies' son, who I play with, is having a class reunion, and she was looking for news clips to show for her son to show at their class reunion. And they were in there talking about how the newspaper in Montgomery and the Greenville Advocate and those media outlets had so many clippings of all those students that were participating. you know, they got a chance to hold on to those, and those things are close to 40 years old. So just imagine what you are doing for those communities when you write stories, those positive stories that you write about each one of those athletes in those communities. When you interview them and put them on Twitter, that's how important you are. Because that's a lifetime of memories that somebody get to relish and enjoy. So don't forget the importance that you serve and the importance that you maintain with our membership, with our schools. Do you always get the answers you want? Probably not. But I promise you, the smiles and the pictures, the lasting memories that you make for those young peoples is just important as what we do in this office. So I want to thank you again for what you do. And at this time, I will open the floor for questions.
Anybody got any questions? Coach, you got some pretty good teams playing down here, some from the Birmingham area. How excited are you to get that kickoff here?
Oh, it's so exciting. I mean, to be able to have the 4 teams that we have coming in. Brandon start working on these teams the week after last year's Kickoff Classic, and matter of fact, had called Coach Etheridge and Coach Niblett at the time before he left and went to Georgia, and they agreed right then and there. No ifs, ands, or buts about that. I mean, it was a week, and they hadn't even started their season good yet, and they agreed to play in this championship. So I want to give applause to Brandon for thinking out the box that quick and getting those 2 teams signed up, and then to get Helena and Clear down here and Chelsea down here. You know, that community, what that game means to that community, and then to come down here, bring down to Montgomery, is another exciting. That shows that those 2 programs are excited about showcasing what they're doing and what we're doing. So we're real excited about it.
Other questions? I've got another one. The official situation, how worried are you? Is there any chance that games could be missed because of the shortage?
Nationally, that is what is happening. Nationally, they're having to play some games. It all depends on where you're at in the country. Some of them are starting on Wednesday night. Some of them are played on Thursday night, Friday night, and Saturday night. And some of those same officials are calling 3 or 4 games because of the shortage. And you know, I haven't seen the clip, but I've heard about it, about the young man getting killed at a youth game. You know, and then all the violence you see at the AAU basketball games. You know, that you see clips of. I don't know much about them, you just see them. I mean, that's a deterrent. I mean, you know, no one wants to be involved in that. I mean, it's hard to believe that it's come to those things. I mean, so that really makes you worried. And as Coach Savory said some 5 years ago, that this train wreck's gonna happen at some point. We just hope we can head it off. But we're heading that direction.
Question back here.
Just to reiterate on the officials, I know post-COVID, a lot of industries like lifeguards and substitute teachers, they've rose the pay to attract some more people to join the industry. Is that something you're considering with these officials?
I know Ken has that on an agenda. He's got some committees that they're looking at that. We have an officials committee. And we just, you know, of course, you know, we raised the pay about four years ago. And we brought it up to what we believe nationally. I think we're above some states around us, but that's always an evaluation. But we can't price our schools out either. You know, as things change, we guys have to remember, you know, what our schools and what our communities, you know, can afford. We have to maintain that. So you know, that's one of those things that, you know, we look at. But we also, Ken, this week had a young man who's 16 years old who wants to be an official for one of our local basketball associations. So we're having to get a lot of parental signatures on that, and going to bring them up through the ranks. They have a plan for them with middle school and some of the recreation leagues. And so, you know, hopefully we can, you know, feed into that and he get some of his friends.
I've got a question for you. On the kid that wanted to be an official, I know if he decides to go back and play sports, will he be still eligible to be able to play sports?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Last year, we talked about the shot clock in basketball. Can you give us an update on the progress of that?
Well, we did a survey this past January, and our schools wasn't in favor of it at this time. There's various reasons. You know, we will put it back on the survey again this year. In 23, the National Federation gave states the option of fully going to a shot clock, but that's strictly be a membership driven. You have to think about the cost of the shot clock. There's a lot of things we got. You know, we haven't even come close to even thinking about how we're going to regulate it, who's going to run the shot clock, the rules. You know, I mean, you look at the NCAA, there's various difference between the men and women's game. You know, when does it touch, does it touch, when it goes out, when does it start back at 20, 25, does it start at 15? You have to, you know, there's a lot of things we've got to work out. And once the memberships decide that's what they want, we'll form a basketball committee and we will set those up. And it won't be one of those things that we'll go directly into it because the membership voted. It'll be one of those things we'll have to phase in.
Was money a deal with the lower classifications on the shot clock, or because a lot of coaches like it on the 7, 6, 8?
I don't know if it was the issue of the shot clock or the fact that and I would disagree on the upper end because there are a lot of coaches that, in the higher classification don't want it. You know, I've had a lot of them whisper in my ear that we don't want it. And so it all depends on who the coach is and what area they are and how fast a pace they want to play. You know, so it varies. I mean, then you have, because we're using the whole membership, we're not voting on whether males can use it or whether females can use it. It's going to be a collective. So you might have some male coaches that want it, but you have coaches that coaching the female that don't want it. You know, so it's all over the board until we get a collective of overwhelming, this is where we want to go, then that's, you know, I don't think a price, and that's what your original question, because we had some vendors there at our summer conference that were already offering 2-for-1 deals. So I don't think that's part of it. I think it's more or less coaching style.
Other questions? Coach, we're out of Birmingham. There's a lot of great finals games, football this year as well as a great event. What was that like for you, the 7-8, all the way through the state championships at Checkers Stadium?
You know, if I can use the word, the perfect storm, I mean, because we had the perfect matchups. We had first-time schools there. We had schools that had been there several times. We had communities that knew each other, played against each other. I mean, it was just one of those things that it just hit perfectly, and it was awesome. It was awesome. You know, you see it on the screen back here. They're showing highlights from it. It was just an awesome atmosphere. And like Jeff mentioned, I think the biggest highlight was our flag football. I think that was just the highlight of everything. I mean, it just shows the passion for athletics in the state of Alabama.
You touched on that 7-8 game. Clay Chalkwell won it for the first time in 6A. But a team like Thompson's been pretty dominant, like a Hoover back in the day. Does that worry you about competition, that a team's run the table like that? No. You know, competition is what we all strive for. And everybody knows, and Thompson knows that, you know, they're the beacon, and everybody's chasing that beacon. I mean, it's if you don't have a competitive bone, then maybe you're in the wrong place. But that's where you want to be. I mean, you know, it's I want to get out there and coach some. I mean, because that's what you do for every day. I mean, Josh was talking about coaching his son the last time I saw him. I mean, it's just
It's just that nature. I mean, he was all fired up about being a coach. And it wasn't the fact that he was coaching his son, it's just the fact that he's out there that can coach. I mean, so I think our schools love that competitive edge, and they like chasing that winner out there.
Alan, Devin talked about the regional being at Bill Harris. I mean, 3 of those 4 regionals will essentially be in North Alabama. Does that worry you, and how do you encourage communities in the southern part of the state to embrace the regional?
I think the format where we at and where we're able to, you have to remember we were bringing a lot of schools from the Birmingham area down south and Tuscany, you know, so it kind of washes out. So the travel is probably going to be a whole lot better for our membership. It won't be as egregious in bringing those teams to the south. And I think it's great to give our other communities a chance to be a part of our championships. We have a lot of communities that are asking about, you know, being a part of our championships and doing the format. So it's another chance to showcase basketball in a different light out at Bill Harris, and it's a chance for those communities that didn't have a chance to drive to Montgomery, that was in Tuscaloosa, that's able to drive to Bill Harris and be a part of that regional format now. So it's exciting. I'm, as you just asked, I'm not too worried that's there. In 3 years or 4 years, we'll see. And if somebody else wants to reach out and be a part of that, we will explore those opportunities.
Other questions? You got one, Jonathan?
Yeah, okay. Got a question for you on, when Montgomery, you had the championship move out of Montgomery for softball and baseball, and you're moving a regional out of Montgomery. What is that saying to Montgomery are they needing to do something to?
Jonathan, you got to ask Montgomery. I'm the wrong one asked on that.
There's one thing, Coach, I don't know, Jeff, did you go over the Fulton Dell situation with LaFleur, without?
What Ron is referring to,
I think it's
wrestling.
I'm sorry, wrestling.
Yeah, we have the Alabama Wrestling Association in South Alabama, south of Montgomery. We've had a lot of schools in Mobile and Baldwin County to start wrestling programs. So our coaches Wrestling Association has gotten, I think, 4 mats.
They took 2 down.
Yeah.
They're taking some north.
Yeah, they have 4 mats they've gotten from different schools. They've taken 2 mats to South Alabama, 1 to LaFleur High School and 1 to Alma Bryan High School, where they are both starting wrestling programs. And that's big for our wrestling community. It's growing the sport like we want it to grow. It's growing so much that we have 4 classes now, as you well noted, that 2 years ago the board voted that we can go to 4 classes. We have 4 classes. And we're moving, they're moving 2 new mats to 2 schools that are joining wrestling ranks up in North Alabama. We're excited about that, and that's just awesome that our schools are sharing the wealth amongst themselves and reaching out and taking things to other schools that are starting programs. Those are the things we love to talk about it. We shared it on our social media page. I would ask that if you haven't tagged us on our social media page, y'all tag and be a part of it. We have a story, what Ron's talking about on our Twitter page and Facebook page.
Other questions, Mr. Briggs? Coach, we've got one other thing that we need to do, kind of back into it.
Okay, all right, thank y'all. I'll be around if you have any questions, except for D-Mark, I'm not talking to you today.
Thank you, sir. Jeff mentioned Super 7 and Devin mentioned basketball. We're blessed to have a world-renowned event management company leading our events for Super 7 and basketball. Please welcome Daniel Smith from 90 Productions.
Yeah, thank you guys. Good morning, everybody. Daniel Smith with 980. We are very fortunate to
work with the high school association on a number of their championships, including the football and basketball championships. We had a great year in Birmingham last year for football. As Alvin mentioned before, the perfect storm was there. We had perfect weather. I think it was 75 degrees every single day. We had great turnouts. We had a lot of great matchups, first-time teams being able to participate, a lot of teams who hadn't participated in 50 or 60 years. And so there were a lot of really good things that came together for the Super 7 championships in Birmingham last year. We are looking forward to being back in Auburn this year. It'll be the first time since 2019, and so looking forward to being back there. It's always great to be in Auburn. The people of Auburn University, City of Auburn, City of Opelika, D-Mark, Anthony with the AOT. There's a lot of really great people to work with in Auburn. We're excited to be back down there. The dates are November 30th for that Wednesday through December the 2nd on that Friday night. And then in terms of basketball, I know we can kind of talk about that a little bit. Being at the renovated Legacy Arena this past year was an amazing experience, kind of being able to shift a little bit from when we had to split it between UAB and Bill Harris the year before due to COVID and also the renovations taking place. But just looking at the video behind you, kind of recapping it and looking back to that, it kind of really brings it to the attention of all of the great experiences that we were able to provide for those student athletes, the once-in-a-lifetime experience potentially for some of those. The facility there, the BJCC staff, they were great to work with from Super 7 and the basketball championships of state finals, and looking forward to being back there again this next year. So great opportunities, really looking forward to bringing football back to Auburn, basketball back to Birmingham again, and looking forward to another great year.
Any questions for Daniel about Super 7?
Thank you, Daniel. At this time, we'll have our door prize session. We give them away?
We've got 8 AHSAA Network year passes. I don't think this is a media pass. It could be. It's just got a code in it. But we're going to give out 8. So look at your tickets, guys.
I'll have JT come and pick numbers for me.
These are new guys, so you blame him. You don't want to do it.
8.
There's one of them. Reading my last, how many?
014.
014175.
4175.
014175.
Yes.
Is that you? No, instructions, you just go to the network and this is a code is what it is.
Here's 3 of them. You want to read these out?
014167.
Mr. Briggs, you want to bring him back up? Somebody needs to check the number. Somebody needs to check the number. Needs to cash.
The last 3 numbers, 182.
You read that number wrong.
I'm back. 182?
182.
Oh, look at there, another.
All right.
The perfect checking account doesn't exist. Not at a bank, that is. So why do you keep looking there? At AmFirst, you can get no minimum balance or monthly fees, an instant issue debit card, and free checks with unlimited check writing. But who doesn't want more? Like a rewards program you'll actually use, and convenient digital tools that make it easy to manage your account from anywhere. Now you could try and find that at a bank, or you could save yourself the trouble by checking with us.
A game without a crowd is just a scrimmage. A performance without an audience is just a rehearsal. Without your presence, high school sports and the performing arts aren't possible. Ensure that these essential extracurricular activities continue to enrich the lives of students in Alabama. Purchase a ticket to your local high school's game or performance.
This message presented by the AHSAA.
Sarah Silicaga wants your car. This week only, get $1,000 over Kelley Blue Book. Trade or sell outright. We're paying top dollar today. Bring your vehicle and walk away with a check. Don't settle for less at the big chain stores. Help us keep local money local and let us pay you more. Shop us first or shop us last. We won't be beaten when it comes to the most money for your vehicle. We're here to earn your business. Car, truck, van, SUV, we're buying them all. For the best price on your vehicle, give us a call today and get paid. That's Sarah Automotive, Silicaga.
Silicaga's best kept secret? No more. Harvey's on Noble is the place to go for the area's best food and drinks. Whether you're in the mood for steak, burgers, salad, seafood, or dessert, Harvey's on Noble will not disappoint, and the atmosphere is perfect for catching the big game or just relaxing after work. Harvey's is open for dinner Wednesday through Saturdays, so round up the family and we'll see you at Harvey's on Noble, downtown Silicaga.
Are you ready for some football? Tune in to WOTM Thursday, August 18th at 7 p.m. for live coverage of the AHSAA Kickoff Classic featuring a Shelby County showdown as the Chelsea Hornets take on the Helena Huskies. Stay with WOTM Friday night at 7 p.m. as the Hoover Bucks under first-year head coach Wade Waldrop brings his squad to Montgomery's Crampton Bowl to battle the Auburn High Tigers and head coach Keith Etheridge.
Are you an enthusiastic sports fan? Want to have